Hi guys, Paul here, and we haven't done one of these videos for quite some time, so we're going to hopefully be getting back into the rhythm of things and getting some more information out there and sharing it with you guys. So what we're looking at here is the new gimbal from FrSky. It's the M9R gimbal, and looking at the specifications, the key thing you want to take away from this is the throttle throw on this thing is 45 degrees travel as opposed to 60, which is what it is on normal Hall sensor gimbals. Other points are pretty much self-explanatory. Hall sensor gimbal, it's got 4 ball bearings, adjustable tension, and it's obviously, well, according to this, is ideal for FPV racing, 3D aerobatics, fixed wings, and 3D helis, etc. So it's basically good to go for everything. So what you also receive with it is an extra stick end. So both of your stick ends can be the same color. That's a fantastic idea. I do like the idea of that. These seem to be able to go down a little bit deeper, a little bit further down too. So you can actually get them a lot lower. So this is the R gimbal. This is the M9R gimbal. As you can see, they've made a few tweaks like the glue at the end of the cables. Looks as though they just refined it a little bit more than the previous Hall sensor gimbals. The gimbal feels nice and smooth, and as you can see in the throttle movement, there's 45 degrees of travel as opposed to 60, which is what it is on a normal gimbal. And over in this direction, which is depending on which you're flying, it's actually that'd be your or your roll, depending on whether you're mode 1 or mode 2, and that's got 60 degree travel, so 60 and 45. As far as the gimbal itself goes, look, it would have been nice if they made it in black. I'm not sure exactly why they've gone in the path of this red pink type color. It would have been so much nicer if it was black. I've spoken to them. I've suggested they do them the same color or make a red version for a standard gimbal, because I can't imagine people wanting to run 2 different colors. I've got mine set up at the moment with 2 different colors, and it's a bit of a pain. That's probably the only thing I don't actually like about it. So obviously the question is, where and how would you use this, and why would you actually use this gimbal as opposed to the regular Hall sensor gimbals with the normal 60 degrees of travel? Depending on, I suppose, I thought this was mainly for people that fly thumbs, because I fly thumbs. I find the way I position my hand, I've got good control for launching, but then once I get the quad up in the air and I'm racing, I'm sort of flying between the 50% and 100% throttle range. And around that range, I have difficulty actually reaching the top of my stick end. So what I've got to do is basically reposition my hand. Now, Thomas is really good at that. He can do that transition in flight. He starts with his hands in a low position and pushes it up. I think people that fly pinches are going to have less of an issue with this problem. But I've noticed a few people, ever since I actually posted this on Instagram, a few people have actually commented and said they do actually have the same problem. So you're going to know whether this is the right gimbal for you or not. Basically, if you find you're repositioning your hands for the throttle, depending on whether it's your left hand or right hand, depending on whether you're mode 1 or mode 2, and if you're having trouble having control down low and having control at the upper end, or if you find you're having to reposition your hand on throttle. So if that's you, then this is probably the right one for you. So this is my Taranis taken apart, and we're looking at both of the gimbals sort of side by side. They're pretty much identical. Some of the wiring's changed a little bit, as in wire lengths, etc. Like the glue on the end of the cables. So that's a nice touch. But all in all, look, they're pretty much exactly the same gimbal. I have a feeling this new one seems to be a little bit smoother. I'm not sure whether that's my imagination or not, or whether it's just the fact that it's a newer gimbal. But essentially, this is what they look like side by side. So as far as movement goes, if I can sort of display this properly, you can sort of see there where the one on the right has got a little bit less movement in the throttle direction. I'll just put these both down, and there you go. You can kind of see it there. So it's just a little bit less. So you find if you can't reach the end of that throttle, this might be the right gimbal for you. Now, I find I do actually have this difficulty with my flying. So for me, the expectation is that this is going to work and work well. And we've actually tried it, and it does definitely work well for me. So this is it installed on my Taranis, and I really don't like the look of this. This really irritates me. It just gets under my skin. Some people's not going to bother. Thomas thinks it's really cool that my Taranis has got 2 different colored gimbals. I don't. I prefer them to be the same. Black I can live with. I prefer black or red. I don't really care, but yeah, that's what I would actually personally prefer. I don't think I'll use the actual extra stick end. I'll just leave them as is for now. But essentially, We've flown with this. I find it works really good. The benefits for me are definitely there. I've got another video out that I released before this one, and that was on the video on the 32-bit ASCs. You can see Tom was actually flying my quad using my radio, where we're doing a comparison between ASCs. Now, what I would recommend is there's another video out by NJ Tech. If you haven't seen his channel, what we're looking at the moment is his footage. He also did a video on these gimbals. Now, surprisingly, he's a pincher, and I didn't think this gimbal would actually work well for people with pinches, because I just assumed that anyone that pinches has got full range of motion, but he found he was a lot more comfortable with this gimbal and actually does like it other than the look. I think he agrees with me on the look, but definitely check out his channel. The video content that he produces is absolutely fantastic. He's done one on the Crossfire, which is a killer video. It runs through how to set up the Crossfire, etc. So worthwhile checking out his channel and subscribing to him. Anyway, I'll leave you with a bit of his footage, and I'll leave the video at that. So hopefully FrSky does come out with a black version of this gimbal. That would be really cool. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll hopefully get a few more reviews like this out there on different products that are coming up and what we're using, and hopefully just share the information on what we're up to with the community. Catch you guys in the next one.